Hello everybody, Scotia here with a video today that is very interesting and one that I probably should have done earlier in the week, but I've just been so preoccupied with the King of Fighters 15 video and the stuff relating to that. I just haven't had the time really to break away from it and kind of, focus on this video and kind of talk about some things. But I'm all done now in that regard. I've got nothing coming up that I'm currently working on. I do have stuff planned, for the immediate future, but for the moment I'm good. So I'm finally taking the time to work on this video. And I'm kind of glad I ended up having to wait because we have a lot more information now that kind of helps the case of what this video is about. And you've probably already guessed by the title, but it seems like Street Fighter 6 is going to be announced pretty soon. So the other day, Capcom randomly tweeted out a link to a countdown, and they didn't say anything. I think the only thing they really put in the tweet was like an eye emoji, the kind of like, like something interesting. But it was just a link to a countdown, and you click the link and it takes you to a countdown, and it's counting down to, well, for me it'll be Monday morning, but I think Sunday/Monday, depending on the region. But it's counting down for then, and there's nothing else really to it. It's a very basic looking countdown. It's counting down the days and the hours to when it ends, and that's it. They've not said anything about it. They've really just kind of left it open. And a lot of people have been wondering what this countdown is for. Now, I initially thought it was going to be for Resident Evil 4 Remake, because we know that's a game that's coming, we know that's being made, it's been leaked a dozen times, we've heard so many rumours about it. But the more I thought about it and the more other people thought about it, we started to think, you know what, maybe this is for Street Fighter 6. So why do we think it's Street Fighter 6? And this is a valid question because, it's not guaranteed. And there's a lot of doubt towards it mostly from people who don't really know how Street Fighter or Capcom's fighting game division usually work and operate. There's a lot of, if you're aware of those things, there's a lot of signs that point towards something happening. Not necessarily Street Fighter 6, but just something that is interesting that doesn't usually happen. So to go over the things that have been happening, because there's been a lot of things like throughout the last couple of days, I think every day something new has popped up or been announced that has made us kind of go, okay, that's kind of weird timing, or that's suspicious. And now it's to the point where it's like, yeah, okay, this is just more fuel to the fire. Like now personally, I am utterly convinced we're getting Street Fighter 6 revealed this weekend/Monday morning, depending on where you live. Yeah, so I'll just go over the evidence quickly, just kind of to kind of go over where we're at currently. At the time of the recording, I'm sure we'll get more reveals and more announcements that kind of help add fuel to the fire before the actual end of the countdown, but I'll get to that in a minute. So to start off, in terms of like why people thought anyway, prior to the countdown, why we were getting, why there was a chance we could be getting something this month for Street Fighter 6. Currently at the moment, ongoing right now, is the Capcom Pro Tour Season Finals. And this was meant to be Capcom Cup, but this period that was going on now, it was meant to be Capcom Cup, the end of the Capcom Pro Tour, the big event, gather all the Street Fighter 5 esports players, all that stuff. But it got cancelled due to COVID and all that, which was a shame, but oh well. And this Capcom Pro Tour Season Final is the online replacement, and people were really thinking, what, there's a decent chance we'll get something at Capcom Cup, because we've had announcements at Capcom Cup in the past. I think the last big one we had was like 2017 maybe, when they announced the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection and the Street Fighter 5 Season 3 lineup. I think is the last kind of big announcement. So we've had big announcements, never on the scale of like a new mainline game like shown off for the first time, but something close to it. So that's kind of been the idea for a while now, and we've known Street Fighter 6 is coming ever since Capcom did the Luke showcase at the end of last year, like November, where the producer and the director of Street Fighter 5 said multiple times, like, we're working on the next Street Fighter project, the next Street Fighter project is coming, we're using what we've learned on Street Fighter 5 into, we're taking what we've learned there into the next Street Fighter project. So we've known it's coming for a while. This is on top of the leaks and the data mines and the hackings that we've seen that have been going on over the last couple of years. So we know Street Fighter 6 is coming, we know it's something that is in development, we know Capcom are working on it. It's a question of when, not if. So we knew that going into this month that it was a possibility. Like I said, even I was saying in previous videos, like, there's a chance we'll see it this month. This all started, obviously things changed for the, this is becoming a real thing now when the countdown happened. But even then, like I said, there was still doubts. Like, I thought it was Resident Evil 4 remake at first, or something, maybe Resident Evil Village DLC, or whatever, So the first thing that people not immediately, but people pointed out fairly quickly, was that the countdown ends on the final day of the Capcom Pro Tour season finals, which is the 20th or the 21st, depending on your region. But it pretty much ends around that time. I think people calculated it. Even myself checked it. The countdown is going to end around like 5 hours after the final day of the CPT finals starts. And 5 hours is usually about how long these things last. Obviously give or take. For delays and all that. That's not really accurate. It's not always 5 hours. It's not always. Sometimes it's less. Most of the time it's more. But it's around about 5 hours after the start of the final day of the CPT finals. So that was immediately like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because that's where people thought we were going to get something. And then from there, it kind of like just snowballed. Then what came next was the Capjam's Twitter account quote tweeted the countdown tweet with like an eye emoji again. And the thing about the Capjams is like they don't just do Street Fighter. They do a lot. They do other stuff. They've done like Mega Man soundtracks, but a lot lately they've done a lot of remixes of Street Fighter 5 themes. And I would say at the moment, like I'd never really heard of them until they started doing the like remixes of the Season 5 character themes. So I would say they're more well known for Street Fighter, and that for me was immediate, because if Capjams are tweeting about this countdown, then it's not going to be Resident Evil or anything like that. It's not going to be like a main division, Capcom, like Capcom Division 1, or like it's not going to be like Monster Hunter or anything else. Like it's going to be a more kind of like Division 2 or 3 kind of like smaller IP, but like more arcadey, I guess. Like I would expect Capjams to be involved in stuff like Street Fighter or Mega Man, the things I just mentioned. I don't expect them to be tweeting stuff for Resident Evil or Monster Hunter, stuff from my knowledge, they've never really done. So that was an immediate, like, kind of like, oh, okay, like, if they're tweeting it, then yeah, like, this has to be something related to Street Fighter or Mega Man. It's not going to be Resident Evil. Then from there, we just proceeded to start getting, like, an exuberant amount of, like, tie-ins and sponsors and collaborations with Street Fighter. Like, honestly, the most I've ever seen for like any Capcom online event or Capcom Pro Tour event. We've had, like, at the moment, Arby's is sponsoring the CPT finals, which is, not, they've had sponsors before, and I know Arby's do video game stuff, so it's not that surprising, but still, for this particular one, for like an online event that was a replacement, like I'll be honest, like, from what I know, like, I'm not a big esports guy, but like there's almost no hype going into the CPT finals, other than, we might get Street Fighter 6 revealed there. Like, I've not heard anyone talking about it. I don't even know who's playing. Like, I've barely seen clips from it. Like, there's really not a lot of excitement going on. So for Arby's to come in and sponsor it, to me, implies there's, Capcom want people to kind of pay attention to it. But that's just kind of my thinking. From there, we had Magic the Gathering doing a collab with Street Fighter. They're doing Street Fighter cards and all that, which is, weird but cool. So that was a surprise. And then I think yesterday or the day before, King of Fighters All-Star, the mobile game, is doing a collab event with Street Fighter, which is crazy. That's the first time Capcom and SNK have collabed, like, directly, new for the first time in years. So that was weird. And obviously, like, Luke is apparently going to be a character I've heard in this event, which is, they're definitely pushing him a lot. And then today, or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, they announced Minecraft skins with Street Fighter characters, and it's like it's an exuberant amount of sponsors and collabs and stuff like that Street Fighter doesn't normally get, or if it does get these, they're normally way more spread out. Like, literally all the things I've just mentioned were announced like the day after each other. So like, it was Arby's, then it was Magic Gathering the next day, then it was like KOF All-Star the next day, then it was Minecraft the day after. We're probably going to get another one announced today. It's crazy. And so that was another one where a lot of people like, yeah, they're building towards something. Like, they have to be. There's no reason to do all these collabs, to do all these sponsors if nothing was happening. Like, can you imagine if they were doing, the most sponsors they've ever done? Like, more sponsors, they've had more sponsors and collabs this week than they've had the entirety of Street Fighter V's lifetime. I could be wrong on that, but it certainly feels like it's close. Like, I've never seen so many collabs done in one day, like done in such a short period of time. And then the final thing, and now this one is kind of like, you know, it's a your mileage may vary thing, but Jeff Grubb, who is a notorious insider, I think he does quite a bit of Xbox stuff. He's been saying that he thinks, like he says, I saw a tweet that was saying that he was saying on his podcast show to expect Street Fighter 6 to be announced on Sunday/Monday. So, you know, I've heard apparently from people who like listen to his show. I don't know how to listen to a show, so I haven't heard it myself. But he was kind of saying it in a more way to me, kind of like, you know, just speculating. But it's still interesting to kind of think about, and you know, just to kind of like add more fuel to that fire. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, to some it may not seem a lot, but for somebody who keeps up relatively with what Capcom do and all this stuff, you know, how they normally operate and how the, you know, Capcom Fighters usually operates, it's a lot of stuff to suddenly just randomly get. You know, like on its own, it's a bit weird. Like if there was no countdown, this would just be stuff where we'd be kind of like, you know, maybe it happens. But this stuff combined with the countdown, to me, it really just screams like this is something that's happening, you know. It's like, to me, I mean, like I said earlier, like, I'm convinced more than ever we're getting it. We're getting Street Fighter 6 revealed this weekend. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the evidence. I can't find anything else. I don't really know if anything else has dropped yet. We're probably gonna, you know, get more collabs and stuff announced today or even tomorrow as we get closer to the actual end of the countdown. But that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to do, was just kind of go over the evidence we have to kind of go, hey, here's kind of everything I could find as to why Street Fighter 6 could be getting revealed this weekend. As for me, I will try and do a reaction video to it. I'm not promising anything. I think that the countdown ends at like 6 AM for me, so, which isn't too bad. It's better than like 3 AM or 4 AM. But I will try and, I mean, I'll probably be getting up anyway to watch it, because I mean, there's only going to be one time where we'll see Street Fighter 6 revealed, so I'll definitely be watching it. I'll try and do a reaction of sorts or something like that. But even if I don't, I'll still have a lot of stuff to say about Street Fighter 6. I mean, I've already got like a roster speculation or kind of wish list video planned that I've had planned for a while that I'm willing to do until we finally see Street Fighter 6, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, I'll have a lot of stuff to talk about once we finally get the game revealed. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I just wanted to kind of go over that kind of... I definitely wanted to do this video before it was revealed. I didn't want to just kind of like not say anything and then, you know, we get the game revealed and then just kind of go from there. I wanted to, because it's been, you know, it is newsworthy to me, you know. There's been a lot of discussion about it online. I've seen Street Fighter trending like literally, I think, every day this week since the countdown started. I think a lot of people know it's happening now. A lot of people are very confident it's happening. So yeah, I'm very excited. Like I really can't wait to see it. I hope it looks good. I hope it's just different from 5. You know, I really just want. I just really want to change. You know, I didn't hate how Street Fighter 5 looked. I think it was far better than Street Fighter 4 in terms of visuals. I know people weren't keen on 5. I think it looked way better than 4. But for me, my issue with 5 was that it wasn't so much the same as 4. I don't think it looked the same as 4, but it was more of an evolution of 4. You know, it felt like what Street Fighter 4 should have looked like in a way. And which is good and all that, but it's just what I like about Street Fighter is that each game is distinctive in their own way, you know, in terms of how they look and they sound and they feel. In Street Fighter 5, you know, the way it looked the way it sounded and felt was, you know, definitely like distinctive, but the visuals to me, it was just too similar to 4. You know, if, like I said, it felt more like an evolution than an actual like unique thing it was trying to do. So I really hope Street Fighter 6 just looks different. You know, I really want to be able to kind of go like, in 10-15 years from now, I want to look at Street Fighter 6 and go, yeah, that's absolutely what Street Fighter 6 was, you know. Again, not saying they look the same, but it's that thing where it's like, obviously kind of, you know, 5 is a sequel to 4, I'm not saying otherwise, but like Street Fighter always kind of felt like, when I looked at Street Fighter, I looked at how different each one is. Like 3 doesn't look and feel like Alpha, you know, Alpha doesn't look and feel like 2, you know. And with 5 to me feels like it could easily be a direct like sequel to 4. And I know some people liked that. I mean, like I said, I don't think the game looks bad. I think it looks quite good. But it's not what I really look for in Street Fighter. Like, I want the games to feel different. You know, I don't want 6 to look like 3. I mean, I love 3. I don't want 6 to look like 3. I don't want 6 to look like Alpha. I want it to be its own thing. But I'm not too worried. I think there's rumors I've heard over the years that they're going to be using the RE engine, which they use for like stuff like Resident Evil and Monster Hunter and all that. So if they do, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't want it to look too realistic, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This was just purely just for me to kind of go over the evidence and kind of explain, even for people who don't know this is happening, because there's probably a lot of people who don't even know there is a countdown going on at the moment. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully, I will see you again when Street Fighter 6 is revealed. Really excited for it. Hopefully it all goes well. Hopefully everybody's satisfied. I do miss having a Street Fighter game that people like, or the majority like. Even though I like Street Fighter 5 myself, you know, I had my own issues with it. I think like Takayuki Nakayama said when they were doing the Luke showcase, Street Fighter 5 was a game with peaks and valleys, and I'm just looking forward to something new. So yeah, that'll do it for me. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.
We await your return, warrior.